No, but we're live right now, so.
Hey guys.
All right. Hopefully you guys can hear us.
We've been having some technical difficulties. Sorry. Major ones.
Major. Yeah. To say the least. Had to switch computers, had to switch webcams. But we're here. So tonight's topic of conversation that we're going to get into.
I'm going to work on this.
Amy's going to work on the lighting to get a little bit better lighting, like on that side of us, because right now the lighting is just coming from our back. Oh, there we go.
Is that better?
Almost seems. Oh, yeah, I look better.
Well, that's all that matters.
Well, you know, absolutely. So.
Yes. Nothing's really gonna work there. So.
Wow. Okay, nice catch. Hey guys. All right, folks. So getting into it, even though we're we've had all these things going on tonight, what we're going to talk about is leadership and how to find your true path. And we've got a lot of great stuff we want to talk about tonight. So I don't know, does one of you want to start off here? Does one of you want to?
Well, yeah, sure.
I mean,
just so you guys know, we've missed you guys, and I've been gone for a bit. I've missed you guys, and glad to be back here. And what's going on, as you can see, is that the three of us are together right now, and there's a reason for that. And what that is, first off, it's awesome that we, can all be in the same place and do this. But we're basically spending the week down here at Amy's place, doing a lot of things for you guys, getting a lot of things ready and ramped up and in the works. A lot of new stuff that we're doing, that we're rolling out, working on, revamping the team site. Lots of cool stuff moving forward, and just masterminding, putting stuff together. And so we've got a lot of cool stuff. Some of the stuff we're going to talk about tonight, and a lot of other cool stuff we're going to talk about. We've been talking about a lot of things, getting clear on a lot of things, and so yeah, I'm pretty excited. So
yeah, absolutely. I want to start this off. This is actually something that inspired this. This is a book that Amy bought me. It's called Aspire, and it's by Kevin Hall, and it's The Power of Words, and it really dives deep into different words, their meaning, like their I want to say ancient, for lack of a better word right now, but their ancient meaning and really the root of the words. And in the chapter that I was reading today, that I was kind of flashing back on, it talks about what is a leader. Back in ancient times, he says a leader is a pathfinder. Leaders find the path. They are the readers of the signs and the clues, and they see and show the way. And he goes on to talk about what that means in terms of like where the word came from. Well, really, a pathfinder was someone who was following, the game or the hunt, basically to feed the tribes, to feed the people, to lead the people to food and other things to keep them safe and warm and all that good stuff. So really, the leader is someone who goes out ahead and leads the people to abundance, and looks for different signs of things and knows, like one way I always like to talk about it is specifically in our industry, is if you can picture a mountain and you're the leader, you typically would wander up the mountain a little bit ahead of the people to kind of check it out ahead, make sure what's going on up there, and then go back and get the people and bring them up, knowing what's already going to happen that little bit ahead. That's the same thing we do in our industry. Those of us that have been further along, those of us that have achieved greater results, built bigger teams, made more money, we're further up the mountain. Well, we can look down the mountain and grab you and tell you what obstacles to look for, what things you're going to face along the way up the mountain, so you know what to avoid, so we can make your path up the mountain a little bit less stressful than it was for us. So that's really one of the things that inspired this call here tonight.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm going to go grab some waters.
Okay. I had a glass of water. I don't know where
I'll find you one.
Yeah, this is a juicy conversation for sure, and I know that I had a lot of things that I wanted to say about it, and right now I'm just kind of drawing a blank just because of the frenzy that we just had trying to get on.
Yeah, that was a little difficult. We
had a little powwow. We were all ready to come out and say what we're gonna say. Now it's just been
Yeah, it was like the weirdest thing happening with Google Plus, and not being able to connect to servers and switching two different computers and webcams and everything just not seeming to work, and so it was difficult to even get on here tonight. So we're just kind of when you're at that point where you're ready to throw a computer out the window is about where we were at, especially at normally what would be the most critical time, because this is our time with you guys. So interesting time, but these last couple months personally for me, I've been through some interesting experiences. I've told a lot of you about it. Many of you who came to the event in Miami heard a lot of my story about Thailand and what we've gone through, and just some of my personal realizations over the past half a year or so. A lot of you, some of you may have known, I've been going through some really personal, challenging times over the past 6 months off and on. And so, I was sharing some of that at the Miami event and talking about some of the things I've learned from it. And so, all of that has led us to where we are now, which is helping us make some decisions that are in the best interest of everybody. And that's where we've really wanted to be at, is making sure that that's okay. I'm really thinking that whatever that was with the Google Hangout stuff didn't have anything to do with that. Mm-hmm. I'm almost tempted to try it again because I think it will work. Let's put that webcam back on.
Okay.
You want to try it real quick?
I mean, if it's going to mess everything up, it might not be working.
I honestly don't think it will.
Okay.
I honestly really don't think it will. And this is killing me, but I really think that was due to something else. So one quick second, guys. We're going to see if you can actually be able to see my nose hairs in this. So, one quick second. And no one taking a risk here. But we shall see. This is all working now, so it should be. There we go. Okay. Wow. Okay. Now we're on.
Now you can see all my wrinkles.
Okay.
That sucks.
I feel much better now doing this. Yeah. So okay. And yeah, we would almost have us all in here. Pretty good. Okay, cool. So anyways, yeah. Now enough of all the difficulties. We will get into this. So yeah.
Why don't we start off with something really exciting here? We've got a couple of announcements. We got a couple of announcements. We typically like to do this, folks, right around this time, actually about a half hour in, and you guys are here a half hour in because we were 20-something minutes late. And again, for that, we apologize about technical difficulties, but we want to talk about some of the people who've had upgrades or breakthroughs this week. First and foremost, and I know this is one of your team members who you want to talk about.
A big congratulations to Carmen Hines. A lot of you know her in the team. Congratulations, Carmen. Carmen has been here since the beginning, almost since the beginning with me, and has kept her word as to when she was going to go all in, and she has in fact done so just in the last couple of days, almost about a week ago now, I think it was, that she went all in and bought the master's course. And so, Carmen, welcome to...
Wasn't that one of the intentions she set with our intention tree in Miami?
So.
I think it was. I think she said she already fulfilled her intentions.
I have those leaves, so I will be double checking
that. Is so awesome.
Yeah.
I got
congratulations, Carmen.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Very cool.
Yeah.
The other one here, and I might be slightly wrong on this number, but Juan Nicasio just personally enrolled, got his 22nd basic membership sale, and it might even be his 23rd. I know he's doing some cool things right now, so he just got his 22nd, possibly 23rd team member sign up, and so congratulations, Juan, man. It's absolutely awesome to see.
Yay.
Sorry, that's okay. You just spilled water on.
Trash in the joint.
Yeah.
What's new?
He fits right in with her 5 and 8-year-old. Perfect.
That's right.
So congratulations, Juan. I mean, Juan's been here less than a year and already sponsored 22 people, which is really quite cool, folks. I mean, I think back to my first year in the industry, and I sponsored one person my first year in the industry. And it took me 8 months, and then it took me another 8 months to sponsor my second person into my team. So it took me 16 months to sponsor 2 people. I've since gone on to recruit more than 500 something people into different teams. But the point is, when you stick with it long enough, you're gonna achieve. Well, one's actually just crushing what I was able to achieve in my first year. So congratulations. Then just today, Colleen Brown came back today and decided to come back with a bang and upgrade to the 15K formula. So congratulations, Colleen.
Yeah.
Excited to have you back. Excited that you're coming back full steam with us, and excited that you plugged into the 15K formula. And then, this is just happened, maybe like
just
like
a
45 minutes ago, maybe.
Yeah.
And so it hasn't even gone through yet. He's actually probably sending in the confirmation form right now for the master's course, because once you buy the master's course, you got to print out, fill out a form, and send it back in so that you can verify that you were spending the money. Scott Lindstrom just officially went all in, so it should be rolling through here officially. So congratulations to you, my friend. I know the training we did down in, where was that? I want to say Austin, because I've been thinking about Austin all day, but that was in Miami. Really got you excited there, really got you kicked off for the new year, and what better way than getting all in and getting all the products, man. Congratulations, very excited for you. So with that, we want to talk about some different things. One of the missions of our team here, one of the things we've always said right from the beginning, is we're about being the change, and we're about helping others be the change they want to see in the world. And one of the missions that we've had is helping people to find out, discover, like we said here in the title of the Hangout, discovering your path, whatever their path is, what they want to, how they want to affect the world, how they want to change the world, and then helping them to live that purpose as much as we can and honor their process. And so, we're going to talk about that tonight, and some different things on leadership and helping really to cultivate other leaders. That's been one of our biggest goals. We've got some pretty what some might say lofty goals for this year of really breaking through and getting 50 new six-figure earners this year inside the team, and helping 80 new people come home from their job this year. And so we're really excited about that. And some of the ways that we're going to be able to do that is by cultivating different leaders and helping different leaders step up into their position and do their thing. So that's some of the stuff we're going to be talking about here tonight. And I've got just some awesome insights here. I don't know if you have any of the stuff that we typed up as well, Amy, about leadership.
Well, one thing I can say right now, it's been so awesome having these guys here. We when we get together and really have a chance to mastermind and get, it's just, for me, it's a really good reminder of why we're together and what our vision is and what our mission is, and so it's just been really awesome having you guys here and having a chance for the three of us to just really be together and talk about things and work on things and just kind of reel in our purpose and our mission here, because yay, Thea wants to be one of our six-figure earners. Okay, I'll put you on the list. So anyway, as far as being a leader of this team, I mean, for me, it's an honor. For all of us, it's an honor and a privilege, and it's not something that we take lightly. And that's why we're having this hangout tonight.
You guys might not know this, but we actually talk about a lot of you guys, more than you would probably imagine. We actually have conversations about people on our team and how we can best support them a lot. So my 2 cents there on that. It's something that is important to us because, when we started this thing about, a little more than a year ago, we did a couple hangouts, and, something just sparked. It was magic. And what we realized is the three of us together created something that we all have never experienced or seen outside of us in the industry. And so it's turned into something that has been more than what we could have imagined. And we realize how important it is for you now and for everybody here. So we're going to get into that tonight. Some of the cool stuff, just as a quick update. One of the cool things I was just going over, and I've been actually texting back and forth with David Wood here just before the Hangout. And like I said in the Facebook group, and for the rest of you that haven't seen that post yet, we're due to have a new sales video tomorrow for Empower Network. And the cool thing about this is that I've seen the slides before they were even finalized, and the people that were involved in this were the right people, making the right decisions with this, consulting the right people. And as we all looked at it, it's obviously way better than anything you've ever seen before. And so we're very confident that it's going to convert. Now, that's one of the things that has been, it's a funny thing. I was having this conversation with Dave Wood on the phone yesterday as we were sitting in Nordstrom, and he said, Chris, the funny thing is that you get some of these people that will complain about things and talk about things as if, hey, you don't have funnels that work, or you don't have things that work in your team anymore, or things that might be broken or something like that. And the funny thing is, we all know as marketers, and until you get to this point, it may not be as easy to see and understand, but we happen to know that our funnels do work. We know that when done the right way that we've taught people, they work just fine. But one of the things that has been something that has slowed down some of the momentum and growth, which was fully admitted by David Wood to me, and he's admitted this publicly, is that the last sales video has been less than desirable in terms of how well it has converted. And what it has done is it filtered out a lot of people, gave people a lot of information on the front end, and so it went from converting 1 in 60 or 70 on the front end for good traffic to like 1 in 200, is what he told me. And so when you have that, you have a business here where 90% of the business is about getting the new person started. And so
new customers.
And so how that trickles down is it's the trickle down effect, where all of a sudden you have people who are not making sales, doing the same things with the same vision, the same things that were never broken in the first place. And you have that happening.
I can't read that far away.
Amy's trying to show me something on the computer over there, but I can't see that far.
This ain't gonna work.
It looks all frizzy.
Yeah. So back to my point, what I was saying is doing the same things that we've always done before, all of a sudden, it wasn't working as well with the last video. And so that slowed down sales at every level, even with the new person having to work much harder just to get a sale. Now, funny enough, we still had a lot of sales coming in with the things that we taught to do. And funny enough, through all of this, we've had the amount of people that are breaking through, that it just took time, a little bit of patience and a little bit of time, and people are learning how to market it and taking control of their own destiny and realizing how important their own marketing is to the equation, rather than relying on just outside forces to do it for them, right? And so that's something we've always done in the team, is we oftentimes, where a lot of people will just try to give you cookie cutter things to use that don't necessarily can be that customized and that branded to you, and make sure that that's done right and in the way that works for you in the most optimal way.
A good example of that, really quick, folks. I mean, maybe some of you, if you're on Facebook, you might be noticing that you're getting email messages that are like very robotic, in tone.
They're all
like
the same.
It's all the exact same message, and sometimes the same person sends you the same message 3 times in a row because you don't answer the first day. And that's the cookie cutter stuff that doesn't make you stand out from the crowd, that doesn't make you any different. And so what we teach is concepts that you can apply and create your own stuff. Like we have a lot of the stuff done for you. We have the websites, we have the follow-up series, we have the sales videos, we have the training, we have a lot of the stuff in place for you, but there's still you. You're still part of the equation, and that's where a lot of people kind of comes together.
Yeah, a lot of people will look outside themselves and say, you're not doing it for me. And in fact, we've done more than what we probably should at times, and we're actually doing even more and making our funnels even better now as we ramp it up with some other cool stuff we got coming on the way. And we have some new cool traffic sources that I can honestly say is the most targeted and cheapest traffic I've ever seen in my life. And I was just telling them about it, and we're working with someone in our team that's helping with that. And that's going to be a big thing here soon as well for people.
So the point that I'm making here is, can you go back to the, or you need that? Okay. The point that I'm making here, it kind of throws me off.
Okay.
Yeah. We all work differently. Going from the same computer is awesome. The point that I'm making here, the point that I'm really making here is, when it comes down to it, there's a lot of moving parts to this. What we do is supply the moving parts that we can, but also remind you of what you need to do within yourself to be able to make this happen. This is why, with such a small amount of people, we've had an inordinate amount of leaders and people. And when you have leaders that rise up, and even, as funny enough, and we're going to get into this in a little bit, people that break off and go do their own thing, that we never as leaders want to suppress people. So it's not like we're over here like we would never be negative about something like that when someone grows to a point where they're growing into their own vision. It is actually our hope and dream, and we talked about it already this year. If we could have 10 people that grew as leaders into the point where we could help them start their own teams with their vision, and we even can collaborate on things and do hangouts together and also have team events together at the events, yet they may have their own vision and team, there's nothing wrong with that at all, because the last step of leadership is really teaching it, and you have to be the leader yourself. Mm-hmm. And so you go through the process of by first following, learning to follow, then learning to lead, then actually leading, and then teaching to lead. And that's the last stage of mastery. So, we'll get into some of this later about all the recent events that have happened, and we're going to clear some things up for you guys and realize that, if there's any negativity that you may have heard going around, it really has been misunderstood because, it was probably, just a couple hours ago, we were sitting right here having a conversation with Angela, and we're like cheering her on about certain things, and we're being supportive of each other and helping, ensure peaceful transitions, with everyone, and we're talking with our people all in mind and how we're going to make sure that we take care of them in the right way. So that's the awesome thing.
Well, here's a big thing about this, folks, is like we're humans as well, and so we make mistakes, and one of the biggest things, one of the biggest lessons to success is failing forward. Along your journey of success, I don't want to say the journey to success because you never really arrive. You just continue to have success. You continue to keep creating success as you go along on your journey. You continue to evolve and become bigger and bigger and keep growing. That's really the meaning of life to me, is to constantly be growing and evolving and becoming bigger and better in things. Along that journey, you're going to make mistakes no matter what you're doing, and the same thing happens in business. And really, when we got together 14 months ago or so, and started building out Team Be the Change and started building out this vision, the team site, the training, the capture pages, the everything that you see here, everything that we have, it was not like everything fell into place perfectly. I mean, we literally just kept making mistakes and trying new things to make it work. We were learning along the way. That's part of the process, is as you're learning, you implement what you're learning, and you're never going to get it right or perfect the first time, or right the first time necessarily. You might get it right, but not perfect. You're never really going to get it perfect. And that even applies to your own marketing. If I were to teach you how I was getting, say, 30 leads a day with a marketing strategy, you cannot expect that on your first day of implementing what I teach you that you're going to get 30 leads that day following exactly what I teach you, because you have to tweak things, make it work for you. Things like that happen. So that's really part of the process. And as leaders, we do make mistakes. So we're gonna discuss, some of the mistakes we made, some of the stuff we learned from this. And really, this is the first time that this has happened. This is the first time that that a leader like Angela has broken off and said, I want to go do my own thing because I have a big team now and really want to make this happen. And her vision is slightly different than ours, and that's awesome. That's really part of our entire vision, is to allow everyone to be their own change they see in the world, and not everyone 100% aligns with exactly what we're doing here. So although they align with the concept of being change, Angela is being the change, and she's going off and being the change she wants to see in the world, and moving forward with her vision. So could this transition have happened more smoothly? Absolutely. Looking back on it, me, Chris, and Amy were talking over the past day and a half or so, and we said, that's some areas where we now know what we need to do better in the future to make this happen more smoothly for everyone involved. you know, and so that's part of the process. So we're going to be excited to share some of that stuff with you here.
Yeah, and just, you know, really,
by the way.
Yes, please. Yeah, and it really just comes down to being able to know how to let people know in the proper way that there's not confusion. And that is one of the biggest things you'll find as a leader, is that if you send mixed signals or give mixed messages, you're going to confuse people. And when you confuse people, they stop doing anything. Mm-hmm. And trust me, the biggest thing for us is how do we get our people to have more success? And we know that if we confuse them, they stop doing anything, not just in their business, but it bleeds over into the rest of their life, because as we know, making money is only one pillar of quite a few pillars of your life that need to be handled in order for you to really engage and make the kind of money that you deserve.
And to enjoy life as well.
Exactly.
You know, here's a big lesson, folks. A lot of people believe that money will make you happier, and although having more money makes things a lot easier, I mean, Amy, your life is a lot better than it was a year and a half ago financially, and you're able to you're not stressed about the finances for a lot of things that you would have been a year and a half ago. So certainly it does alleviate the stress. I'm not denying that fact whatsoever. When I have more money, the stress of the financial burden is completely gone. I'm able to do things more freely and whatnot. However, here's a very important point that you got to understand, folks. If you can't enjoy life, if you can't be happy and enjoy life when you don't have money, the money is not going to fulfill that. It's not going to fill in that void there, right? You need to learn how to be happy and enjoy life without the money. And then when you have the money, you'll be able to enjoy it and be happy the same way you could without money. The only thing is you're not going to have that financial burden. You'll be able to go around on a jet ski if you want to. You'll be able to you'll be able to go on more vacations and travel more. You'll be able to do more fun things. You'll be able to have nicer things for your house. You'll be able to live in a bigger house. A bigger house isn't going to necessarily make you happier. You being happy before the money is what's really important. So that's why there's more. What we focus on here in Team Be the Change is more than just the financial. We focus on the financial. We focus on the spiritual, on the emotional, and on the physical. You know, and so it's really the combination of all of that tying together that creates a well-rounded life. You know, and that's, in my opinion, what creates success.
Yeah, absolutely.
I have a quote I just want to read. I posted this on Facebook today. I love it. Happiness postponed until dreams are realized is happiness that never comes. You already rock.
Yeah, you do.
It's exactly what Jordan was just talking about, you know. It's not like, and somebody actually commented, I'm not going to say her name or anything, but she said, I realized recently that I've been putting my enjoyment on hold until I could just justify spending time and money on things other than career, and decided that I deserve to enjoy myself and have a life. So
yes,
that's awesome. Exactly what we're talking about. And the beautiful thing is, some of our team members, we've watched people, this is one of my favorite things about this team, is watching people have these major breakthroughs. A lot of times they have breakthroughs around happiness and family and stuff like that before they ever start making money. Like those breakthroughs start to come, and then all of a sudden they start to make money. So it's not the other way around. It's not like, if I could just make lots of money, then my life will be good. It's kind of the other way around. Like, let me focus on making my life really good, and the money will follow. So that's what we've seen, and it's been really, really cool, because again, this isn't all about the money, and when we can watch people evolve as people and become happier, it becomes so much more. We celebrate that, and then all of a sudden the money starts coming, and it's a well-rounded.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's happened for so many different people. I mean, I could name off a list of people. I know Shannon, Krista, and a lot of different people. But I think back to like December of this year, or last year, I should say. So about 2.5 months ago. Some of you might know this now who are on this team, but December was my worst financial month in all of 2013, right? Because December was my worst income month for Empower for all of 2013, and I look back and I know why. One, we lost our laptops in October and took an entire month off of work. So coming out of that and taking an entire month off work, you don't see it the following month. But a month and a half later, it's like, oh yeah, that's because I didn't work for a whole month there at all. I didn't blog, I didn't email, I didn't do anything for that whole month there. So rightfully so, my business is looking a little bit different the month of December, right? I mean, that's something that's going to happen. But in the month of December, I had I had certain struggles going on inside of my mind. I had things going on inside of my mind, just different struggles. I'm not going to get into specific details because it really doesn't matter. But the bottom line is, my mindset was messed up. My mindset was messed up, and it's crazy how right at the very end of December, it was like December 30th or so, I said, you know what? This might have been the worst financial month of my entire year, and I can keep focusing on how bad that was. I can keep focusing on how bad the month is, or I can say, you know what? Come January here, I'm turning this on instantly right now, and January is going to be the best month ever. And you know what happened? 3 days into it, I had a $3,000 commission, and January was the best financial month of my life ever. And what did I shift? I didn't shift anything else. I was working the same as I was working in December. I was doing the same things as I was doing in December. The only thing I shifted was the way that I believed. I shifted my energy. I shifted my emotional energy, my mental energy around the entire concept of the money that I was making. And just decided to be happy. Just decided that I was going to make it happen and not focus on the lack. You see, a lot of people are so focused on the lack of what they don't have or what they didn't get. And that's why I always say, work on yourself. And you hear it a lot. You say, work on yourself more than you work on your business, and the money will come, right? Work on yourself more than you work on your business, and the money will come. You hear that, you hear that. And really, some of the reasons I say that is because I've seen different people who have money, who've made money, but they're miserable and outside of this industry, and they're miserable because they haven't worked on themselves. And they make way more money than I make. So if money buys you happiness, ultimately they should be way happier than me. The bottom line is that they're not, because they don't understand that one common principle, that one common theme of working on yourself. I could go on and on about that, but that's really one of the guiding principles. That's one of the ways that we lead our team here. And so, getting back into leadership, here's a big thing. There's a lot of responsibility with leadership, and that's something that, should you want to make it big in this industry, you're going to have to get comfortable with. You're going to have to realize that other people are relying on you, not just yourself. You're going to have to realize that other people's lives are not ultimately at stake here, but they are following you, so they are listening to you for advice. And ultimately, people make their own decisions, and they're going to do what they want. But you being the leader, they're going to look to you to lead them to hopefully greener pastures, And so one of the big things that, Chris talked about this earlier, is confusion. One of the biggest things that messes things up for people, and I did this for years, folks. I did this for years and years and years and years. Is I was promoting like 10 different things constantly, and my people would come in and they'd be confused because they'd see 10 different things, and they say, well, which one do I do with you? And I'd say, well, what one resonates with you? And that's for lack of a better word, that's a bullshit answer. That's not cool. That's not fair to the people. When what we found here is when you focus with one streamlined message, and it's consistent, and it's the same message, and it
doesn't even matter what it actually is.
No,
as long as it's the same.
As long as it's streamlined and constant, and it's not just, and you're not marketing 20 different things at once to all the same people here, you're going to be okay. Your people are going to be able to follow along with you, because after 6 months they see the same message. After a year they see the same message. After 2 years they see the same message. Now that's not to say that that's not to say that your vision doesn't change and you don't decide to do something different, but then stay focused on, again, one thing. Stay focused on one thing, and don't try and lead your people in 5 different directions at once. That's one of the biggest things I found, why I was literally able to sponsor hundreds and hundreds of people into other things, build teams and other things. Ultimately, though, I never built teams. I never had
people that were succeeding in other things until my message got so focused on one core thing here, and that's Team Be the Change, and it got so focused on that my team started succeeding. That five-figure monthly earners, six-figure earners were popping up. People making thousands of dollars a month were popping up. We actually created duplication in what we're doing, and that's really the core message there. So,
Matthew Dillingham just basically agreed with you in the comments. Oh yeah, you saw me all over the place. So you definitely did that.
Yeah, I did.
So I want to close the loop real quick on something we were talking about earlier that ties directly into a lot of what you're talking about here. Which, when I was talking about how some people have come to me and said, you know, Chris, your funnels don't work, or your promotional stuff doesn't work. Funny enough, the same stuff worked months ago. And, you know, as we talked about, you know, the main thing that hits things home, which is a sales video, is a new one coming tomorrow. So what this effectively means is all the stuff that quote unquote didn't work, that was built for a good converting sales video, is now going to start working again.
Mm-hmm.
Funny enough, it's going to start working again, running traffic again, just like it used to before. Now, the funny thing is also, just as I was saying before, I was talking on the phone with Dave, and I said to him, you do realize that you really monumentally, colossally fucked up, right? And he's like, yes. And I said, you left that video out there for way too long without paying attention to it. And he said, yes, I did. I take responsibility for that. Yes, I did. And I said, you know, why did you do that? He said, well, you know some of the reasons better than anybody. And I said, yeah, I can totally understand chasing your girlfriend around Costa Rica because, you know, she's pregnant with your child, and, you know, there's a crisis going on, and people don't feel safe, and so, you know, you're having to handle that with your family. And, you know, as anyone here who would be handling a crisis like that, how could you think straight or pay attention to just about anything, right? And so because of that, it wasn't paid attention to for too long, where it caused a lot more grief than it, you know, really could have. It could have been alleviated. But the good news is that we have better people at the helm that are now watching that now. A lot of you were in Miami. You saw how Jonathan Kronstadt is just
amazing guy.
I mean, as much as wow.
Yeah, she does.
Just saved it.
I know.
You know.
We went from whoopsies to wonderfulness.
I know.
Unicorns and rainbows. I love it.
Puppies and rainbows.
Yeah. So what we're really saying here is that you know, a lot of people everywhere, you know, not just our system, but any system, and every team had a lot of issues that was using funnels that were, you know, part of Empower, because just like any organization, everybody goes through times of learning and times of making mistakes and getting better. Now, if you think that some company is going to start and they're going to never have issues, they're going to never have growth curves, they're never going to have times where they go across things so that they can learn on how to get better, then you're not living in reality, right? That's going to happen everywhere. And the funny thing is, the people who are going to follow the masses of people on what's hot and what's new, and don't realize that those people, just like Aaron Rashkin told me, that stick around in those times, that's when you find their character, that's when you find what they're really about, and those are the ones who have proven many times before to be the ones that have made the serious money. Because right now there's a lot of shaking of the tree. There's a lot of thinning out of the weeds. And there's a lot of things that are happening where the energy is coalescing, and now from these lessons that have been learned and things that are moving forward, there's momentum starting again. And so for those that are re-upping and continuing to stick around, realizing that one major unfocused message makes more sense. And why start all over again? You know, after all this momentum that has been built before, you can pick right up and start going again. So, that's my response to a lot of people that say, well, your funnels haven't worked. Well, guess what? Nobody's has.
Mm-hmm.
So, and the thing is, there's lots of things that pop up in those times that want to take your attention away and say, hey, we're better, we can do this for you. Whenever I start hearing that,
Shiny object.
well, and the thing is, we love saying shiny object syndrome, and it's a great analogy, it's a great metaphor, and I agree with it. And I also think that if you've got something that is like you see it as the next thing that you need to do because what's currently happening is not working, then I can get that. That's like a logical conclusion. But the issue around that is that, just like I said before, the growth curves and the growth path of anything grows. I'm trying to do this where people would see it the right way. Will grow, in spurts and then go down and learn and go through growing pains and grow some more. And if you leave during this, then you've lost all the momentum and the best that is yet to come. And that's just what happens. The funny thing is, as one example, an analogy, in 1981, there was a saying that people said, as an analogy, Amway, right? Everyone knows what Amway is and everything. In 81, here's what the most common thing was said about Amway. Everybody who's in Amway is in it. Everybody who's going to be in it is in it. And everybody who has ever been in it is going to be in it. So it's not going to grow anymore. This was before they had their major growth from a $1 million company to a $4 million company, or $4 billion. I'm sorry. Is that it? Wow, I'm off.
I don't know numbers of Amway. All I know is that Amway was one of the companies that I was thinking.
Well, there were people that got started. Yeah, there were people that got started in 1981 that have become millionaires since then. And they were a part of that major growth curve where essentially they had a 4,000% growth curve, S-curve economics, right before something hits critical mass, which is 10% market penetration. And then from 10%, it basically just shoots off real quickly, where it takes a long time to get to that 10% of people that know about it, market awareness. And then from there, it normally just shoots off and it goes and just grows like this with hyper growth. And people said that about Amway in 1980. And in 81, it started to just take off.
Yeah.
And so what I'm saying here is, you don't think that through that time from 1954 to 1981 that they didn't have some things going on like this? And
even after that, they still have some things going on like this, and they're still growing.
And you still see some of the biggest incomes ever coming out of there, and stable, long-term, secure incomes. So all I'm saying is we can learn from history, and we can learn from what we've seen in other teams, even in Empower Network, when you mix messages and you mix systems and you put in too much. We've had many people come to us that say, hey, I'm just overwhelmed and confused with so many different things they have us doing. They have us doing something different every week. And I've heard a lot of that from, I'm not pointing out any particular team, and I'm not bashing any other team. I'm saying this is the perception that a lot of people coming in who need training see. And so what we've often heard about our team is that we have something simple that they can actually learn, that they can actually apply, that they can learn and keep moving forward on. And it's not confusing, and it's not complex, and there's a reason for that. And I'll tell you one quick story that I did. If you guys watch the 15K formula in the archived settings, in the archived modules, you'll see that I taught SEO about 2 years ago or so, probably that, about 2 years ago or so. And the amazing thing about that is that obviously those strategies don't apply now. But what I did on that webinar was so beyond the average person. Because, see, I like to get way into that stuff and geek out. And I taught a strategy, like a double-tiered backlinking crazy strategy. And about
Gave me a
90,
headache.
yes, and he was on it. And about 95 to 99,
Zoned out when Chris started talking about SEO. I was really
and
good.
about 95 to 99% of the people on there were messaging like, I don't know what he's talking about. What is he doing? What is he talking about? I don't get it. If that's what I have to do to rank stuff on the search engines, I don't ever want to do this shit. And then we had about 7 people. About 7 people, not 7%, 7 people. Now, mind you, there was like 1,000 people on this webinar. About 7 people that messaged Dave and me and said, "Thank you, finally some real meat. I love it." And they were like the geeks that were already into it. Smart, way too smart for their own good people. And so my lesson there is I was really distraught actually because I felt like I had let a lot of people down. And I got on the line with David Wood after the webinar and he was like, "Chris, what you've got to understand is that you may have had a very good grasp and know SEO to a level that most people could possibly only dream of because you got way into it. You were full-time on it. You ran a company doing it. But you've got to remember the new person and what they're capable of absorbing at one time and how quickly they can learn and how quickly they can apply it. And what you did was too fast and too much too quickly. And from that was a major thing. I mean, I had like knots in my stomach. I felt sick to my stomach. I felt like I let people down because I felt like all I did was confuse most people. And I did. And so from that, the lesson I learned was to give things in doses and chunks and learn not to confuse people and not to give them too much. Because we learned that if you get people doing certain specific simple actions, they will ramp it up in their pace without feeling pressured by being given too much. And so a lot of you have come into the team site and said, "Well, I want more training, I want more training." And so the good news is we are going deeper and we are choosing to give you even more because we want to see you grow as people. But just keep that in mind, all right? Because really, I mean, we kept things very, very simple before because we did not want to confuse you. Now we're going to take it a step further, but you guys got to take it a step further too and step up and take responsibility for yourself and who you are and what you're doing and not necessarily throw away everything that you've worked for until this point. That's what I think.
Awesome.
That's it. Go ahead. I'm good. And I'm done.
Take it away from me.
Yeah, well, no, I totally agree with what these guys say. I mean, I really believe confused people don't take action, and you know, there's been lots of different like systems and different things that have come along. There's been lots of teams that have come to us and asked to, merge with us, and we always take the stance of no, because we don't want to confuse people. Mm-hmm. We don't want to take somebody else's message and combine it with ours and merge teams. We don't want to take somebody else's system and bring it into our team site. Like, it doesn't make sense because it's just going to confuse people. And so,
it's not that their systems are wrong, and it's not that their message isn't right. It's just that what our vision is and what we have going on doesn't match together, right? So really, we have to stay focused and core to what we originally started this thing with. And that's one of the big things why a lot of people have come to us. A lot of the different leaders have come to us, have come to me or Chris or Amy at different events and said, "What is it that you guys are doing?" And then they've come to us and said, "Well, we'd really like to get our system, or we'd really like to work with your team in some way, or we'd really like to match our teams together." And ultimately, it's always been, we are Team Be the Change. We're our own team. We're one of the few teams inside of Empower Network that
is our own team, and not that there's anything wrong with other teams meshing together, because they've obviously done something amazing. But really, that's just been our decision from the get-go: is to be our own team, is to be our own thing.
Well, it makes it really easy too when somebody approaches us or something else comes out in the new system or this or that. Like, we always know where we stand. There's no question.
Right.
Like, no, we're not interested.
Right.
Because it's just too much information. It's always going to confuse our team, and that's not what we want to do. Not to mention, as leaders, it's important to lead people into a place where we know what's over there. Like, we don't want to lead people into the unknown. You know what I mean? Like, we have no idea what's over here in this brand new thing over here, or on this team that we're not a part of, or whatever that we've been offered. And so, like, I know for me, a lot of it it's about protecting my people. Like, I want to make sure that we're giving them what we know works, and what it's all completely tied into our vision, where there's not all these unknown components that we have no idea what, and then there are components, and we'll get into that, I know, that are things that we don't want to bring to the team as well, that we do know about different systems and different things, but mostly it's just about protecting our team and not confusing people. And so, again, it makes it easy when, like, we put a stake in the ground and we said, this is our vision, and this is our mission, and this is our purpose, and this is what we want to do to help our people. So we don't waver on that.
Period.
Period. Like, it doesn't matter how shiny and bright something is. The answer is no. Like, we're staying on our path. That stake is already in the ground. We're not pulling it out. And so,
no matter how good it looks. I mean, we've seen a lot of different things that have looked really good. That have looked really good. That's awesome, and it's going to look great, and it does, and it gets results. It gets results, but the bottom
that's going to continue to happen always. I mean, there's always new stuff being created and evolving, and there's companies that are trying to be just like Empower Network, and there's companies trying to be better than all the stuff. But it's like it's staying focused is why our team is what it is,
right?
Because that's what we've done the whole time, and we haven't wavered. And I think that's one of the most valuable things that we have to offer for our people. Some of the bigger teams, not that there's anything wrong with what they've done. Like, some teams have merged, and then there's all this different leadership coming from all these different backgrounds with all these different systems, and it's all amazing stuff for the people to plug into. But a lot of the people
it's too much.
They're confused. They just don't know where to go. And here it's again, like, there's never any question. Our team site it's simple, and it gives you what you need. And our Facebook group, there's one message in there. There's not a bunch of different messages in there. And
that's the way it's going to stay.
And that's the way it's going to stay.
Well, the one big lesson we've learned from that is that when you implement a system, and when you implement a team vision and the correct, proper, healthy set of actions, there's something that we've talked about a lot with people before, and that is always talking about your 90-day grind. Your 90-day grind to get you momentum moving in whatever direction that you are going. And the same concept applies on a team level, on a group of people. And so if you change a message or change a strategy, change a concept, change something going on there that ultimately changes what you're doing every day on a daily basis, and the vision that you're putting out there, and the direction that you're putting in people, and the direction you're moving them towards, then what's going to happen is you're going to see no growth. In fact, you're going to see negative growth, and people stop doing stuff for about 60 to 90 days. And it takes about 60 to 90 days to get people on a new schedule and on a new strategy and get momentum on that to where it's working. And so the thing here is, if you at this point right now choose to go somewhere else, you're going to have to build up that 60 to 90 days all over again, okay, for one. And then getting your people going that way as well, which is even tougher, especially if you have a lot of people on your team. I'll tell you, the responsibility when it comes to dealing with that many people's businesses and lives is enormous, and it's not to be taken lightly. Okay, so those decisions need to be thought out very well. And so when you're doing this, keep in mind that you have momentum where you are right now. And normally, always, unless there is a violation of ethics, unless there is a violation of honesty or trust, the best option is to continue on and course correct rather than try to throw the baby out with the bathwater and jump. Because then you're always going to lose people in the wash, and you got a lot of dead bodies on the side of the road. And that's not fair to them or to you. So that's something here that, obviously there's been some systems due to, like the sales videos and Empower not working as well and growth slowing down and such, and people being a little frustrated with the whole blog beast launch and all that stuff, losing a little bit of faith. And honestly, I didn't lose faith. It was like, there's times I was like, are you guys sure you're doing what you need to do here? And what we're really talking about here is that, there's systems that pop up. Now, a lot of you have heard of one particular one right now that's pretty hot that people are attempting to promote, which is iPass 2. And, one thing is, I know Chris Jones and Chris Campbell, and, they're friends of mine as well. And those guys are great marketers, and I have nothing bad to say about their system. Those guys know what they're doing, and in fact, their system is going to work for them, and it's going to work, no problem. They're good. I have nothing bad to say about them. The thing is that there's a lot of unknown variables for our team from a business standpoint that when we took a look at it, first off, we already knew, hey, we are who we are. We're standalone. We don't necessarily need to combine with anybody. And we're not saying that they have any ulterior motives, and we're not saying we're afraid of them in any way, because we're not. It's actually, like, I'm glad they're doing what they're doing and doing the best they can because they're doing their thing. And you can't do anything but applaud people for doing their thing, especially when they take it to a level that they do, right? Just like we do, as we're growing too. And so the great thing is that, we're all really, supportive of each other. But the thing is, there were some things that basically concerned us that if we were to go in a direction like that, it comes down to some business principles. And one of them is what we've been talking about most of the night, which is protecting you and making sure you are aware of what is going on with you. Because, you've got a story to share here in a bit about what happened to you and some of the lessons we've learned. But, there's some variables here about, you've got leaders. And jumping to follow somebody else to do things is never really a good idea if it ain't broken, right? And we ain't broken, not even close. And so one of the things from a business standpoint was, if we go to a different system, there's someone else making decisions rather than us. And that's not okay for us. And it's not that they're wrong, it's not that they're bad, and it's not that they're doing anything that's unethical or something that we wouldn't choose to do with our team at the right time if we felt right. The fact is that we're here with our team. And it's apples to oranges. It's not an argument of who's right or wrong, or who's better or who's worse, because those questions and those conversations should not even enter into the decision, if you understand what's going on with business here. And so the best business principle is to minimize the risk. And we've got a lot of people we're dealing with here. So to be careless without all facts and to make major shifts and try to bring people into something where we don't have full protection, we wouldn't do that to our people. We wouldn't necessarily give away that ability for someone else to make a decision to put you in whatever direction you want, because we brought you in. We've brought you this far. We're taking you even further. We're taking you where you want to go. And if you eventually want to grow to a point where you have your own vision and you're an established marketer that is successful, and we've helped you get there, we're going to help you go create your own as well. We know how to implement team systems. We know site structure. We know all of these things that we've done in the team that we've learned. There's so much we've learned over the last year as well as we've gone through this that we'll be able to help our leaders with as they grow and get to that point, right? So any of the thoughts about how anybody's bashing anybody here, there's no bashing going on. You know, we respect and admire and honor Chris and what's going on there. We, support Angela and what's going on with her. She has her path there, and it's cool. But the thing is here, we had to make the decision, not for us.
I didn't even have to make a decision. I don't look at it.
Well, it really wasn't necessarily a decision. Mm-hmm. We were already resolute in what we're doing.
Yeah.
And that's not going to change.
So one of the things here, folks, and one of the reasons we brought this up the other day, and one of the reasons we're talking about this again right now is really for clarity. But the other, over the past few weeks, there was some confusion as to, is this system endorsed by Empower Network? Is this system part of Empower Network? Because a lot of people believed that it was part of Empower Network and that it was this brand new free system that everyone in Empower Network was going to be using. And so there were people coming to us saying, are we using the system? Like, the system's coming up, it's part of Empower Network. What's going on with this? How is this working? And that's really where we had to clarify that it's an entirely separate entity from the company. It is not necessarily part of the company, even though it is a front-end system that is being used to promote the company. Even though some of the top leaders in the company have built the system to promote the company, it is not that. And really, ultimately, again, one of the big things here is we, as a team, can't confuse our people, right? So we had to clarify on that. We're not saying that you can't go off and do that should you decide to do that. And in fact, Angela's been really looking at the system here for a few months now. She's been looking at it and connecting with those guys for a while now. And it's something she's been looking at for a while. So she's finally made a decision as they're launching this new system to really just move her team over there, because that's where her vision goes. And that's awesome. So here's where we messed up, is we knew, if you're talking about this for the past few days, we knew that Angela was going to be moving there. And really what happened was we didn't put anything in, we didn't really put anything in place to make that transition smooth. Like, we didn't think, how can we get your team notified about this and not create confusion in the team? And really, it kind of all just, it was a big mistake on our part, and we learned from it. And so in future, when leaders come up and decide, hey, I'm ready, it's my time, I have my vision, and I love your team, I'm going to go be the change I want to see in the world, and I'm going to go do that, just like Angela's doing now, we'll have a lot more smooth of a transition in place to be able to just kind of ease into it, and it's not going to create the confusion like
we've had over the past couple days and over the past week, and so really that's one of the biggest things we want to talk about here tonight is the fact that we have learned from this. We did make a mistake. It's not going to happen again in that way. We're excited for where Angela's headed, but we do got to let you know a few things about the fact of why we are staying the way we are, like we've always done, and just a few simple things. So one of the big things here, folks, and this goes back to the whole confusion thing. I want you to imagine for a moment. Some of you, some people are wanting to be a part of both things, right? I'll never tell you that you shouldn't do something. I'll never be upset with you if you're succeeding somewhere else. In fact, even if you decided to quit Empower Network, quit our team, go succeed in some other company or some other system, and I saw you or saw you online succeeding, I would be so happy for you. I want to tell a quick story about this because I was on an escalator about 2.5 years ago in Las Vegas, and one of my team members was on that escalator with me with one of her mentors, someone who she was making a lot of money with at this point in time. And she was telling this guy that I was her first mentor, that she had first come to me, and I had really helped her to get along. And even a lot of the stuff she was doing now, she had learned from me. Well, I never made money off of her. Like, I never got passed up commissions. I didn't make a lot of money off of her. But I was so happy to see her succeeding. And I said, you know what, I'm so proud of you. I'm so happy for you. Congratulations on all your success. And she was like apologetic over the fact that she wasn't making me money. She said, I'm really sorry. I wish I could have made you money. I said, don't be sorry. Don't worry about it. I'm just happy that you're succeeding. I've got enough. And her sponsor, her mentor, looked at me and said, how do you not want the money that she's making me now? Like, how do you not want that? And I just thought, well, what a douchebag, and the bottom line is that's a lack mentality. I have an abundance mentality. I believe there's more than enough for everyone to go around. And so no matter what happens, folks, no matter what happens with you, no matter where you go, no matter what you do, I'm excited for you to succeed. I'm excited for you to live the life of your dreams. Getting back to the confusion thing, and what we cannot have is confusion. That being said, should you decide that you want to be using the iPass system to market, we can't be bringing people in through iPass and then funneling them into the Team Be the Change site, because those people are going to get confused. I've thought in the past, not too long ago, and I've said this to Chris and Amy, I said, there's a system, and I'm not going to name it, but there's a system I could be using where I could be sponsoring people into that system and funneling them into our team here, right? But what would that do? What would that do? Ultimately, the people that are in our team wouldn't know any better, right? But the people over here that I'm bringing in through that system, they would know better. They would know that I'm not bringing people in over here. So what that would ultimately lead to is all the people that came in from over here would then be coercing and conversating. I don't know if that's even a word. One of the guys that used to work for me always said conversating, and I think it's called conversing, would be connecting with each other, and ultimately these people that came in over here would eventually spread the word that they came in through this other system, which would dilute and kill our entire message. It would mess up our entire system. It would mess up everything that we have going on. That being said, one way or the other, whichever way you go, there's no hard feelings one way or the other. Should you decide you want to try something and then come back, should you decide you want to stay here and then go somewhere else later, whatever happens, there's no hard feelings anyway. But we got to keep our message clear for our team, and that is, we're Team Be the Change. We have a system. We have a training. We have everything in place that we need for people to succeed. So people are succeeding now, breaking through more than I've ever seen before. Amy's team is absolutely blowing up. Chris has team members that are absolutely blowing up. And I have team members that are absolutely blowing up. And so do a lot of other team members here. People are succeeding more here now than I've seen before on a wider scale. So the bottom line is, we know what we're doing. We have everything in place. We're going to keep to our core message and keep running with our vision. And there's going to be no confusion.
Yeah, no, I was just going to say, just to make sure that was clear because I know he kind of brushed
And I was
over
gonna
it. But
clear up too, yeah.
so if you decide to use the iPass system, like Jordan said, that's awesome. We just can't have iPass people that are coming in through iPass plugging into our Facebook group and our team site because it's two completely different messages. So that's just to clarify on that.
And so also, just as you all know, Angela and us are all on the same page with this. I was just having a conversation with Angela just a couple hours ago where, I said, hey, Angela, there's some people that you pulled out that came to us and said, hey, we love you guys. We feel part of the family. Why are we not here? Can we come back? Do we have a choice? And as a professional courtesy, me and Angela got on the line and we were like, okay, let's just be clear and make sure we can do what's best for everybody here. And I said, how do you feel about this? And Angela was like, I'm totally fine with the ones that want to be there. That's totally good. Whatever they want to do is good. And I said, okay, same with our people. So as long as we don't mix messages. And she said, so, how do you want to handle, iPass and not iPass and such? And just like what we explained here, if you're going to be promoting iPass, which is fine, be there and do it. But if you're coming into the Facebook group in BTC and talking about it or trying to promote through there, then we're going to have to take you out. Because of that, we just have to make sure that there's not
I think
any confusion.
If you're bringing people in through iPass, they're not being plugged into our team. That's the bottom line.
We can't have anybody come, because then people are going to be talking about iPass in the Facebook group, and it's really going to confuse the people that aren't using iPass and vice versa. So again, you're fine to use it. You just can't be part of our team stuff. Yeah.
Exactly. I mean, they're coming in through different leaders, and the person who's coming in is like, wait a second, I heard about this iPass thing, and Chris Jones, Chris Campbell, Angela Moore, and all this stuff. And then, wait a second, who are these people? Who are Amy, Jordan, and Chris? I mean, They're kind of cool and all, but who the heck are they? And I didn't see them in the sales type of thing. And so and what that does is it breeds no continuity and no congruency and confusion. And so, the thing is, there was one person that actually made a comment. It was actually hilarious and really misunderstood. They said, what is this, a dictatorship? When we said we weren't going to use iPads. And it was like, if you only knew your best interest that we have for you at heart, it would never be that we want to control. Actually very unique, where three leaders can stay together and grow together rather than grow apart, right? And, the funny thing is, just like any major spiritual following says, where two or more are gathered, the sum of the whole does not equal two. It's multiplied. And so with us, the three of us have a common vision. It's made our team extremely unique, extremely amazing, and powerful all at the same time. Now, we all grow as individuals just as much too. We do grow together, but we also grow as individuals. And so you notice that there is somebody here, Amy, who literally has her own team that is plugged into the team, and we've been able to successfully keep these two teams in harmony and continuity together, streamlined. And even Amy does her own hangouts. And what do you think me and Jordan think about that? We were actually, it was a conversation that was had beforehand. We were totally supportive of it. We're like, great, congrats, why don't you do it? We support you in it. In fact, you want us to ever pop on and support you in it or give you whatever praise or love you need, by all means, right? Because we're helping Amy in her growth, just like Jordan helps me in my growth. I help Jordan in his growth. It's all in the same thing, where we're here to help you continue to grow. And there's never a point where we want to hold somebody back for what reason. That never does anything. It never helps anything. That's so not life enhancing. And that's not what we're about, right?
Yeah, you're free. Everybody's free. Everybody's going to do what they want to do, and we totally support that. And we just, again, the only reason that we're saying this whole thing right now is just to again, make sure that there's no confusion going on. And our Facebook group is like a safe haven for people, where we want you to feel safe there. We want you to feel like it's a, like comfortable bringing your new people that you just recruited in there to become part of the family, and they're not getting sidetracked and getting messages that are confusing the hell out of them by people that are doing things a different way. And so, again, it's just to protect our team and keep people from getting confused. That's the only reason. And again, you're free to do whatever you want, but we have to draw the line as far as mixing up messages on our Facebook group and our team site. So, yeah,
I think we nailed it.
Yeah.
So, unless there's anything else that I couldn't think of.
Well, we've got a lot of cool things that are coming up and things that we're working on. And one of the things I would just say to everybody here is, if you're sitting there right now and you're like, okay, well, I haven't had a lot of sales and I haven't had a lot of momentum lately, and what I've been doing doesn't seem to necessarily be working too much anymore, you guys know me. I'm just going to be straight with you. I'm just going to be completely real with you guys. Those of you who have met me, who have known me, who have been a part of my training, been a part of our training here, you know I'm a man of my word. And I'm telling you this right now. The sales video that's coming, the funnels that are coming, they are coming. You know me, I'm a man of my word. This stuff will work. It has worked. It will work again. And the new stuff that's coming is even better. So that's what I'm going to leave you with.
Well, what do we want to talk about? Systems, kind of how systems work, just to educate people a little bit about what, because my concern too is that there's people that are kind of newer to internet marketing who see like a system come around. Now, I've seen several since I've been in Empower Network and in other things before Empower Network. People are always creating systems to help people, systematize the way that they do their business, which is awesome. But, when I first got involved in Empower Network, I got involved with a system thinking it was going to help me and my team, and I was very naive about how these things actually work, and that's why I kind of felt like it would be good to kind of just educate people a little bit in case you're not clear about how these systems work, and just point out a couple things just so that you know, and that when you make a decision about what you're doing, you make an educated decision. And you guys can chime in and about any of it, but just for example, one of the things is that when you're getting leads through a system, the system owner actually owns your leads, and the system owner can actually market your leads. And that's what happened to me. I was generating leads through the system, and my leads were getting marketed to by the system owners, and I actually I plugged my team at the beginning into the system, and everybody got, their leads got, and their recruits got prospected by the system, they got cross-recruited because the system owners were also marketing to those leads, and I had no idea that was even possible.
That's called incest, by the way.
Yeah. So like in Empower Network, Dave and Dave get our leads too. Like if we're using their funnels, they have access to our leads, but they have promised to never do that. Like they don't send out personal emails from to our leads telling people to go to their blogs or any of that. That does not happen in Empower Network. So the Empower Network system is a safe place. We know that. We know them. Chris is Dave Wood's best friend. Like they're not gonna do that. But you just never know. With other systems, I've seen it happen several times where people create systems and then take all the people that are plugged into the system and move them over to something else. And that's kind of what happened to me as well. I lost half my team because I plugged them into the system, and I didn't want to go over to something else, but a lot of people, got pulled away. So I just want people to understand some of that, because I know, if people just see it as, oh, a system and it's free and it's this and it's that, it's like there are some risks involved, especially when, you don't, we didn't create the system, so we don't know exactly how it works.
Mm-hmm.
There's no way for us to know exactly how it works and everything, or what the big plan for the future is with it, or any of that. So anyway, I just wanted to point that out. If you guys have anything else you want to chime in about, just to help educate people about systems.
Well, I mean, I think you touched on the two really important points there, and that's not to say that every system is like that, and that's not to say that, Chris and Chris would even do that necessarily.
Yeah, we don't know.
We don't know. We haven't really researched it enough. I haven't really looked into it. I remember being on stage getting awarded, and Chris, bumped into each other. He's like, "Come check out what we're doing," and we wanted to, we just didn't have time. We just never did. So we don't know one way or the other. But just so you guys are aware up front, that is something that can happen. That is something that can absolutely happen. So.
And we're not really going to take that risk.
That's really the bottom line. That is one of the decisions.
Yeah, we're not going to take that risk because, and we're not saying, and we're not necessarily at all, accusing or saying that that's what their plan is or anything like that. Now, what I will say is that I have seen other videos like Chris and Chris where they have said, look, if we're not happy here, we will take the team and go to other places and, bring everybody as a team, as a unit and all. But see, that was one of their older systems. Now, I'm not saying that's what they would do here, but I've seen that potential happen. And so for us, it was a simple, the decision was already made, but this is one of those things to understand that we wouldn't be that careless to even take a risk with you. Not saying that they're going to do that. But I
think I remember that video, and I think their verbiage was, should basically, we have a system and the back end is Empower Network, and should Empower Network go under, then we have the ability to put something new in that place. Right? We have the ability to put something new in that place. So should Empower Network go under, they have the ability to quickly add a new income stream there, and the entire system can have that. Well, that's great. That's actually a phenomenal idea. And we actually
have that ability
emulate different things like that stuff. We emulate things like that. The bottom line, though, is then we as a team, Be the Change, had no control over that, and that was something that we really just couldn't. We just couldn't.
We're leaders ourselves. We're leaders ourselves, and so we've aligned together and been able to create one vision and one message. And the only real thing this really comes down to, like I said, Chris and Chris are awesome guys. I don't think there's any type of underhanded thing or any intent to deceive or anything. They're not going to do that. I don't believe that at all. I know them personally, friends of mine. It's exactly what Jordan said, and it's really the different messages and visions, and that's it. It really comes down to that.
And just the other thing, just to clarify, I know Jordan touched on this real briefly, but people were also confused because there were flyers being handed out inside the main event in Miami about the system, and that's why people thought that it was endorsed by Empower Network, when actually that was not supposed to happen. People are not supposed to be recruiting for anything inside of an Empower Network event, which we all know that, and so that made it even, I was even confused, because I'm like, this isn't allowed, so they must be standing behind this or something, like what is going on? So I know that there was a lot of other people that were confused about that, and that was not supposed to happen. That was not, so just so you know, the flyers that were getting handed out, that was not okayed by Ian, and it wasn't.
That's what caused some of the confusion.
That's what caused a lot of the confusion. So just to clarify that was not supposed to happen.
And in fact, on the Saturday night, Empower had removed their signs and removed their flyers and asked them to remove the rest of the stuff that they had, just simply because it was against, the policies at the time. And so they actually did do that. Just however, they've done a good job of exposing it to most people already. And so, hence some of the confusion.
Yeah.
So.
Cool. So, some exciting news then?
Yeah.
Sweet, folks. Well, you might have heard me talk about this, and certainly if we think of anything else, we'll bring it up. Or if you do have any questions, certainly, Amy's policing the comment stream there. So if there's questions, certainly throw those in, and we'd be more than happy to answer them. But one of the really exciting things here, I talked about this. I think this was last week that I talked about this, Amy. Was so stoked about what we're going to be doing here. One of the things we talked about, how we're going to get more six-figure earners inside of our team this year, how we're going to create 50 six-figure earners, 50 new six-figure earners in our team this year. And really the way to do that is to raise leaders up, to create momentum and to raise leaders up, and to help those leaders then create momentum in their teams and raise their leaders up as well. Really, that's going to be the only way. It's not going to be 50 frontline six-figure earners from me, Chris, and Amy. That's not the way it's going to happen. It's going to be levels deep. There's going to be people 5, 10, 15 levels down from us who are making that kind of money this year. That's how we're going to break through. The exciting thing is, and this is something I discussed last week, and we actually sat over the past few days and planned out this entire thing, how we're going to create this momentum, this thing that we're going to do here. It's something I have done 3 separate times now. And all 3 times now that I've done this, here's what happened. People got sucked into what we were doing. It created momentum. People got sucked in. People who never wanted to join before came in and joined the team. People who were in the team and had left the team came back to the team. And then people who were there were starting to succeed more and more and more and more. And again, all 3 times that we've done this now,
Just say that.
No, keep going.
Okay, I'm getting distracted here. I don't even know what I was talking about now. So all 3 times that I've done this thing in the past, we've created massive momentum. People have gotten more results than ever before. In fact, one of the people, Perig, when we did this with him years ago, he literally went from struggling online and not getting results to getting over 24. He went from less than 300 visitors in a month to his website to over 24,000 visitors a month to his website in less than 45 days. Okay, following what we're going to be putting together here, and what we're going to be bringing to you is going to happen sometime again in the next 2 to 3 weeks. So I just want you guys to be prepared for what we're about to roll out here, and understand that is going to be one of the major ways we're really going to kick off 2004. I know we're a month and a half into 2014, but that's going to be one of the major ways that we're really going to kick off this year and get the ball rolling and get a lot of momentum rolling here, not just frontline, but team-wide, with all the people that are on board with this. So be prepared for this, folks, because this is going to take our team and put a ton of us on stage, put a ton of us in the top 200 at the events, put a ton of us, again, up on stage getting awards or being up there for the commission countdown, and people are really going to take note of what we're doing here. That's the bottom line. So I'm excited for that, super stoked for that. We planned it out over the past few days, got a few more details to tweak out, a few technical things to tweak out here, but I've done it before multiple times. It's worked like a charm every time, and I can't really name these people off, but there was a certain group of people that I was telling Chris and Amy about, and they were in the first time that I had ever done this. They were in the first time that I had ever done this with another business partner of mine. And a couple years later, they came to me and said, they were up on stage speaking. In fact, in this particular company, they'd achieved more results than I had. They had become bigger than I was. And they said, Jordan, I want you to know that what we've been able to achieve was thanks to what you did, that thing that you did. That's what kicked our thing off. That's what gave us the daily action plan. That's where we learned how to do what we were doing on a daily basis and create the momentum in our business and our lives, and it completely transformed our entire lives. Now they both earn multiple 5 figures a month and are living the life of their dreams on completely opposite sides of the world. It's absolutely amazing, and that's just one story, folks. That's just one story. I mean, it's happened literally again and again and again and again. With all sorts of different people inside of this, so I'm super excited. It's something that we talked about doing. I've thought about doing it a year ago, even 6 months ago, even 3 months ago, and really we just had to have the timing to put it together, the initiative to put it together. I mean, we were kind of sidetracked last year with everything else we were doing. So now,
trip and launch,
22 vacations, and building the entire team and everything we were doing last year. Well, we've got everything in place now. We're able to start going off and doing some of these different things, and it's going to be exciting.
This makes consistency easy.
Yeah.
That's the cool thing about it. And one thing I want to note here is, every 90 days at an Empower Network event, they give checks on stage. And they give checks on stage normally for that 3-month period from the last event to that event. And the funny thing is, I never actually got that check for those 90-day periods. But the cool thing that they do at the end of the year is they do it for the whole year. And that's when I got a check. Because you see, I didn't go on a spurt where I just got a lot of money in a short amount of time. I was consistent with the same message, doing the same thing, speaking the same vision, doing the same actions, same daily actions every day. And because of that, when the whole year and the dust had settled, I had a check on stage because I had stayed consistent, because over the whole year it was enough to have on stage. Now, if that's not enough example and proof for you, then I don't know what is. But it speaks for itself, I think. So
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, you should have seen the size of this check. It was like 3 feet by 7 feet wide. It was bigger than all three of us.
What you call a big ass check.
What you call a big ass, a badass check.
How'd you get that thing from?
They're mailing it to.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
okay.
yeah. So I'll have it here. I'll bring it on one of the Hangouts and hold it up like this.
Yeah.
Take pictures.
If you guys saw the video from Miami, there's a montage that we put up on it. It's got some video footage of Chris getting his check on stage, and yeah, it's pretty awesome.
Way cool.
Speaking of events, we just want to touch, somebody just asked a question here as far as the regionals. We're still trying to figure out, Memorial Day weekend is one of the events and doesn't work for any of us, so
And we all have pre-scheduled stuff for that.
So we will not be at that event.
Which
And,
was New Orleans, correct? Yeah, the middle one. Yeah.
And we know that some of our team members, Parrot and Sarah, have a wedding towards the end of June, which might be a conflict as well, just because they're so close together. And then April's a possibility, but it's also questionable right now. So we're still trying to figure that out. We will let you guys know, of course. You'll be the first to know as soon as we figure out which one's going to work. But we can tell you right now it's not going to be Memorial Day weekend.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. So it'll either be Seattle or Charlotte.
Again, Montoya. I saw the check live and in technical.
Yeah, if you watch the video, you can hear me screaming at the top of my lungs.
And if you watch the video, know that you can actually take that page and use it in your marketing. You can send out an email about that.
Yeah, we have a code. It's on a coded page, so you can just add your link, your user ID or affiliate ID on the end of the link, and send out an email to your list, or write a blog post about the event or whatever with that link in it, and people can go watch the video and join the team right from there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's an awesome video. It's got lots of pictures of our team members, and it does a good job of kind of showing people
The breakout room.
Yeah.
What happens at
The
live
intention
events.
tree. If you weren't at the event, we had my favorite thing about the whole event was the intention tree, where we had an actual tree that was made out of cardboard and these beautiful blue leaves that matched our Team Be the Change logo that was on the middle of the tree, and people at our breakout session wrote out their intention for the next 90 days and then came up and hung it on the tree. And we have video footage of that happening. We had awesome music playing and people were hanging their intentions. And then at the end, like, I was just in awe. I stood back and I cried as I looked at it. This tree with all these leaves on it that represent our team and what we're going to do in the next 90 days. And I know that some of those intentions have already happened, like Carmen, and one of mine has already happened. And there's probably more.
Yours happened, what, like a couple days? We're going to
Yeah.
Disney World.
You know, the cool thing is I was able to, because we had to transport everything back to here, we had to take the leaves off the trees and stack them in a nice stack and everything. But what I did is, instead of just putting them in a suitcase and shipping them, I put them in my carry-on. And as I was sitting on the plane, I was reading through each and every one of them. And so, for those of you that know you wrote an intention, you know who you are, and I know who you are, and I know your intention, and I expect to be seeing those intentions coming true. And I expect to see you at the next event telling me about that intention and how it came true, and we're going to help you get there.
Yeah, and you know what's so cool? Like, part of what's in mine was part of my intention is to help Juan retire his parents, and I wrote that on my leave. And then I came back, and Juan started sponsoring people like crazy. Like, it's and I believe it's everything is connected. So like, I set this intention, and now Juan is producing the results. I love that.
Yeah.
I think it's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, I want to just shift real quickly into just a little bit of a dialogue real quick for some of you who, read the copy and you're wondering, okay, what have I learned tonight about being a leader? So let's recap it.
Yeah.
About that.
Yeah.
So one of the things that, is most important as a leader.
The couch is going to make a noise. Don't break it.
So, what this really comes down to is a few simple principles. We're wrapping it up and we're essentially recapping everything we've gone through here. So,
Everything?
just bullet points.
Make sure that we've covered everything.
To make sure and let people know. We learned a lot about how important it is not to confuse people. We learned a lot about how to keep a consistent message, focus and consistency, right? We learned a lot about how different egos play into things and how people can misunderstand things, and how, as a leader, it's up to you to be able to, if you're the leader, to make sure that you keep the focus in the direction in the right way, and you're not a part of the problem, you're part of the solution. It's a very big thing, because I can tell you this. I'm at those events, and I'm standing up there in our breakout room, and I've done this every time, and I look into your eyes, and I'm talking about everybody. I'm talking about you. I'm looking in everybody's eyes, and there's a million different thoughts going on. And a lot of you know me well enough to know that I'm very, what you would call, empathic. So I feel people's emotions, even when I'm close to them. I can feel what they're feeling. And even when I was younger, I actually had to learn to go, is that me feeling that, or is that somebody else feeling that? Like I can tell in their tone of voice, I can tell in the way that they're looking at you, I can see in their eyes, I can read words in people's eyes, I swear. It's really something I can understand. I can really understand people's thoughts in just the way that they look at you. And oftentimes when I'm there, I see different looks. And sometimes I see a look that is, is this really real? Can this really happen for me? And then I see others that are, I'm here, I've seen it work for others, can this happen for me? And then I see others that are just starting to have it happen for them. They're going, okay, I know this is real, can it really be this big for me? Because I'm starting to have success. And I see some people that are there, they're locked in, they trust and they know that where we're going is the right way. And they know they're on the way up. And they know that they listen to the wisdom of others around them that have been there before them. And they're going there too. So my question to you is, which one are you and which one do you want to be? And if there's a difference, then that's your growth for right now. And either way, if you want to be here, we're going to support you in that. Make sense? And if you believe in this, I want you to leave your comments down here in this comment stream. If you believe in this and where we're going.
Down here. Not over there.
For us, we're watching. Right? And so, but I've looked into a lot of eyes and I've seen, and this is one of the beautiful things about being a leader, that a lot of people will talk about and leaders talk about this amongst ourselves, which is normally a conversation reserved for leaders. And we're having this conversation with you now. We're going to have this conversation with you, even if you're not a leader yet, because you're a leader inside. You may just not have cultivated it yet. The thing is, it can be a double-edged sword, as a lot of people look at it. And I don't see it that way. A lot of people will talk about a double-edged sword because they feel responsible for dealing with a lot of people when they're negative and when they're having emotions about things and fear about things. And as a leader, you almost feel a responsibility to get them out of that and get them back on track, which we can't necessarily take on personally, but we help do that. We are an example for people when they're afraid or when they're in uncertainty, and we stand steadfast in our certainty. And so it's leading by example, okay, which is one of the biggest things. That's why it's called be the change. Not talk the change, not do the change, be the change, okay? Not talk, not do, be the change. And being takes courage, believe it or not. A lot more courage than someone who tries to do something that they're not. Mm-hmm. Right? So, keeping all of that in mind, you're here to learn and to grow as a leader. Because ultimately, if you're going to be a leader, you've got to learn how to deal with people's personalities and to be able to stay peaceful and resolute and steadfast in the face of adversity. And I can tell you, far beyond what I can tell you tonight, but what I can tell you right now is there are times when I know a lot of people would not have been able to handle a lot of the things that have come along. In my life in the last year, in the team, even at the last event, how emotions can get so high with so many people, and then you have a group of people. And isn't it that old saying, never underestimate the stupid things people do in large groups? You ever remember that? Like at concerts, people start moshing and someone gets hurt. I mean, it's just like, the propensity for people to do that in groups when all the emotions are high is not necessarily always thinking in the grounded and logical way that makes sense for everybody. And so as a leader, you've got to set the example. You've got to learn in the face of people freaking out, in the face of people being completely afraid and uncertain, and then at the same time on extreme highs, that you want to make sure that they don't fly right off into space because they're so high and happy at the same time that they're disturbing others. And it's a funny, delicate balance to maintain that. And when it comes back on you, that can be scary. And that's
why personal growth is so important.
That's exactly, thank you. And see, this is why this works, because she knew that we already know where we're going with it, right? And we already know where we're going with this, so we can finish each other's sentences because of that, right? Yeah. And so, the thing about this is one of the reasons why, and we haven't really, approached it in this way and had this leader's conversation with you, where we talk about personal development. Well, this is one of the main reasons why. Because there's been times where Jordan has been tested, Amy's been tested, I've been tested, where I've had to stay completely resolute and calm in the face of crisis with many different people at the same time, and keeping and maintaining a semblance of normalcy and maintaining focus and direction all at the same time. And as ADD as I am, I tell you that is not an easy task at times. So this is something that will scare a lot of people from wanting to take that next step as a leader. Here's the part where I see it differently, where it's not a double-edged sword. You see the benefits to this, the benefits to leading. It's worth it. The upside is even more. And you only know that once you get here. That is something I don't have words for. I have words for a lot of things. We all know that. But what I can tell you is the thing about this is
couch is broken. Christina just farted.
Yeah, it's the couch. It was actually Jordan's party, but anyways. So
we got to end this thing pretty soon because it's about to.
We got 3 minutes. We need to relax.
It's about to get snowy again.
So this is what this comes down to. Is that the upsides are worth way more than any downside, because the downside is only a learning experience, and it's designed to sharpen the saw and strengthen you. Because if I had not gone through the things that I had not gone through in the last year, if Amy had not gone through over the years, if Jordan has not gone through over what he's gone through in the last few years, we would not have been able to hold the team together and move in the direction we have and be regarded as who we are in the company as well, which is one of the best reputations anybody in the company has. And I've been told that personally by David Wood. Thank you very much. So keeping that in mind, it's worth it. And there's nothing to be afraid of. There's nothing to fear. That's all an illusion. This is about learning, moving forward, and actualizing yourself. And there's nothing we could possibly do to stop you from doing that if you made that decision. And we're here to help you in that. So with that, I'm done. Love you guys. Last words?
Yeah. And well, the other thing about being a leader, some people might not feel like they're a leader or that they have what it takes to be a leader. If you were on the Hangout before ours with Vic tonight, he said something that I loved, which was start seeing yourself as a leader right now. And you need to be able to, first you need to be able to lead yourself. So that's where you can start. He said, give yourself a command and follow it. Wake up tomorrow morning and you have to lead people. It's a process that happens over time, and it's a process that that happens. The beautiful thing about this team is that we attract people that really care about people and have huge hearts. And I mean, some of the people on our team, like when we were in Miami at our meet and greet, I was like in tears when I was leaving and talking to Chris, just looking at our team. Like, look at these people. These people are amazing that we attract
I
here.
remember that. That was awesome.
Yeah, I mean, it's amazing, and that's the upside of being a leader. When you look around, like, we did this, like, we created this, we attracted these amazing people onto this team, and now they're all hanging out together. Like, we were just standing back watching everybody. They're like a family, It's amazing, and so. When you have a huge heart and you care about people as much as we do and as much as the people that are attracted to us do, then leadership, it comes naturally over time when your heart's in the right place and, and you just genuinely want to do things to help people. So it's not, like, I don't see it as a burden at all. I see it as an honor and a privilege, and, any extra responsibility or work or whatever that's involved is all totally worth it. I mean, and again, I look around, look and see what we have here with this team. It is so special, and I'm just so grateful to be here. And I know that every single one of you is a leader, and we look forward to watching you grow personally. And again, like the personal growth piece, it's such a huge part of our team, because without it, we would have fallen apart a long time ago. I mean, there's stuff, that needs to be handled on a regular basis, or, sometimes more than others or whatever. But, if we weren't working on ourselves personally, then we would go into meltdown every time there's a crisis, or whatever. It's really actually really cool to watch. Like each of us, Chris and I were talking about it today, like we see the growth in each other just from the time that we've been together and things that we've had to go through and the ways that we've grown together and individually and stuff. So it's an awesome path.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Speaking of paths, let's go back to the beginning here where I talked about what it means to be a leader. The pathfinder. And in this same book, he talks about the fact that before you can teach others the path, you have to first know your own path, right? So you have to first find your own path. The cool thing about what we do here in this industry is you might get a follower the second you get someone on your email list, the second you get someone following you on Facebook, the second you get someone into your team. You essentially have a follower. You're essentially leading someone in a direction, right? That's what's happening here. And as you continue to grow as a person, as you continue to face different obstacles, and I would like some people call them obstacles, and I love this. I always call them opportunities for growth, because as you come to these obstacles or these opportunities, you grow and you prepare yourself for that next level. You prepare yourself for what lies ahead. If on the other hand, you don't face these obstacles and you kind of sidestep them or turn and run away from them and don't grow above them, you're not going to be ready for what's going to happen at the next level. That's why Chris and Amy are just talking about the fact that certain things you're going to face when you have a big team, you need to prepare yourself along the way by facing different opportunities for growth along the way at each different level, in order to get ready, in order to prepare yourself for the stuff that you're going to face at the higher levels. And it's not going to stop. It's just going to keep going and keep going and keep going. As we continue to get bigger, I mean, imagine like us being the owners of the company for a second, and imagine us trying to run the 200,000 plus customer company. Like, at this point in time, I promise you, we're not prepared to take on what it's at right now. We're not prepared for that. As we continue to grow, eventually we'll be at that level. Eventually we will be there. And that's part of the entire growth process that you begin going through right now. So you decide you're going to be a leader,
You decided to start moving forward, and like Amy said, start leading yourself. Discover your own path. Go down your own path, and the people that want to go down that path with you are going to start following you. And then here's the ultimate tribute is a leader, a true leader doesn't create followers. A true leader creates leaders, right? And so that's really what's happening here. Again, Angela's breaking off and doing her own vision, and she's got her own path that she's been talking about this for months now.
Yeah.
She's been talking about this for literally for months now. And really now is the perfect time. So she's finally broken off and she's heading down her own path. And she's the leader, so she's going. And that's what's going to continue to happen. And that's how we're going to get the team vision to where we want to be. That's how we're going to create so many different six-figure earners. That's how we're going to help so many more people come home from their jobs. That's how we're going to spread the message of Be the Change around the world and touch so many different lives is by bringing up leaders. It's not by creating a mass following of people that are just going to do whatever we say. It's by creating a mass group of people that are going to break off with their own vision, with their own change they want to see in the world, and go off and be that. So are you that person? I certainly hope so. Each and every one of you watching this right now has that ability, has that power to just decide what you want to do in the world, what you want to change in the world, what you want to be, and go off and be your own change, and we'll help you grow into that. That's really the goal here. So with that being said, I've got nothing more to say, folks. I'm excited for what's going on here. I'm excited for everything we've discussed over the past 6 days here since I came over here. I'm excited for Disney World in 6 weeks. I'm excited that I got to go to Chuck E. Cheese the other night because it would be kind of weird to go there as a 29-year-old person. You can't just go to Chuck E. Cheese. You need to take kids there. So I'm glad that Amy let me take her and her kids to Chuck E. Cheese. It's awesome.
We didn't get to eat pizza because we're both doing weird cleanses right now.
I know. I was watching them eat pizza, and I'm like, this sucks. Because I love Chuck E. Cheese pizza, and I haven't had it for like a year and a half. Last time I had it was when I took someone else's kid to Chuck E. Cheese, and I'm like, I need to find
more kids.
I need to find more. I need to find more friends with kids, so I can do. I'm going to take people to Chuck E. Cheese. Damn it! I love their pizza.
I didn't think I'm going to start off this one.
I'll be honest, folks. It's awesome. Food diets, if you will, if you want to call them diets or whatever, certain cleanses or certain things. It's not for everyone. Like everyone has their own certain thing that works for them. I've personally never felt this much energy without a pot of coffee. It's amazing for me. So I'm excited about it, and
so am I.
And that being said, we'll see you here next week. Be on the lookout this week for updates as we continue to roll them out, because things are starting to come out right now that we've been working on. Things are going to start changing. You're going to notice some changes to the team site. You're going to notice some different changes and whatnot. Also, the last thing, and we didn't mention this, we have an all-in call tomorrow, Wednesday night. I got a message on that, on the comments down below from Craig Waters, and he said, "Thank you, Jordan. What you taught me, I got 37 leads today." And what Craig's talking about there, if you saw that comment, is last week on the all-in call, because Craig Waters is all in. Last week on that call, he got to come on there and say, "Jordan and Amy, this is what we're doing right now. This is what I'm doing for marketing. This is where I'm at. This is the results I've gotten. What can I do to make it better?" Which is what happens on that call. People come on there and they say, "This is what I've done. Here's what I implemented. Here's how it worked. These are the results I got. How can I make it better?" And because of what we talked about, he went off and he got 37 leads today following what we talked about on there. So now he's going to come on there tomorrow night, and he's going to share with me and Amy and Chris exactly what he did, and we're going to be able to tweak it and help make it better, help him improve it. And so, Scott, you just went all in. Carmen, you just went all in this week. You now get to access that. Make sure you get in touch with Andrew on the team site and get plugged into that so you can get on that call. You now get access to that on a weekly basis. Anyone who decides to go all in before tomorrow, you get access to that call tomorrow night. You'll be plugged in on the team site, and every single week, we might miss certain weeks depending on like
if there's an
holidays and
event,
whatnot,
sometimes we
events.
miss it.
But you get access to the people in our team that are making 6 figures a year to answer your questions, to give you essentially one-on-one coaching in front of a group of people. You get to talk to us back and forth, and we coach you in a one-on-one setting, in a group setting. But you get one-on-one coaching. So
I just want to mention that another person that had a breakthrough from last week's call, Cameron.
Oh, yeah.
Cameron's all in, and it might have been his first call. I think he said he'll never miss another call. He'll never miss a call.
Great.
He has some questions about video marketing that we answered, and he went on to make his very first to me, and I showed it to these guys. I hope that's okay, Cameron. Well, it's on YouTube, so I know you want views, right? So anyway, we're blown away. Like, it's like the most amazing first video. I'm going to start crying. The most amazing first video I've ever seen in my entire life. And, anyway, he did that because he asked the questions that he needed in order to be able to make it happen. And then he did a great thing, too, because he used keywords. It was Bob Marley's birthday, so he took advantage of that and played a Bob Marley song on his guitar in the middle of his video. Like, it was just amazing. So if you're watching this, Cameron, we're super proud of you, and it's so awesome to see when people come on that call and ask specific questions and then immediately implement. And that's what his video was about. It was about taking action. And it was just so awesome to watch him break out of his shell and make his first video because he immediately implemented what he learned on that call. So it's not to be taken lightly. It's a place where we've seen a lot of results, a lot of success happen from what people get there, because the call is shaped around what you want to know,
And what specific action steps you can take immediately following that call over the course of the next 7 days to go get different results than you've previously gotten, so you can come back the very next week and say, I went and did what you said, here's the results I got, now what can we do to make it better? And eventually, hopefully eventually we get to the point, we've gotten to this point with a few different people where we've said, hey, I've got nothing more for you, just keep doing what you're doing. You already, I can't tell you anything else, you're already doing it. Like, you're doing phenomenal, so keep doing what it is that you're doing, and it'll probably grow some more, or it'll stay consistent. Either way, you're getting more results. So keep doing that. That's the ultimate goal, is for you to come back enough times to where you get to the point where we say we have nothing more to tell you right now. So congratulations to everyone who just get all in. We look forward to seeing you on tomorrow night's call, or hearing you on tomorrow night's call. And unless anyone has anything else,
Making 2014 the best year yet.
Woo!
be the champions, folks.
Love you.
What we got?
XO.
Smiley.
Talk to you tomorrow.
Puppies and rainbows.
Unicorn.